Well, everyone, this is part 2 of Issei was betrayed. We left off when Nakano started walking in. This man, so far, is missing his goblet arm, his right eye, and is chained up, slowly getting his magic drawn out with a bunch of bruises, stab wounds, cuts, bad cuts, and fully starved as well. Nakano walks in there with a good smile, starts opening the door from a prison cell. And she says, I've heard from the school that you have something pretty big down there. And she starts slowly taking off her clothes. Slowly starts unbuttoning her shirt. And this is a 13 plus video, so. And she slowly unbuttons it. And she takes off her shirt. Then she slowly starts pulling down her skirt. Issei is getting hard from this. And Nakano looks at him and says, Ooh, little pervert. You're still a pervert after all we've done to you. You really are a disgust to this world. But that won't stop me. She starts spinning her hands behind her back, undoing her bra. And takes it off. Then she slowly starts sliding down and taking off her panties. Then she starts walking up to Issei. This man is semi-hard right now. And she starts unbuttoning his pants. And his pants are all ripped up and shit. Holes in it and everything. And she takes them off. And his underwear as well. And she sees he's only semi-hard right now. And she says, that won't do. And puts some electricity in him. And kinda started his nerves up. Causing him to be fully hard. And she says, that will do. And he stays laying on the ground right now, like on his back. And she slowly starts going on to it. And she is feeling some pain. And she's like, God damn. And it's slowly going more and more on it. And his is about, I forgot how long it is in anime. Pretty big, apparently. She gets the full thing in there. She starts bleeding from her vagina. So. And he's like, this hurts for my first time. I think I'll get used to it. She has both her hands on his chest. And starts going up and down his cock. Riding that shit. Issei is kinda groaning. He's in a lot of pain right now. He is not yet fully healed. Even with Drag's healing factor, he's still in a lot of pain. And she starts going faster up and down on him. And she is enjoying the shit out of it. And she climaxes way before he does. And she's like, I'm surprised your weak body can still handle me. You're still conscious after this. He's like, Issei doesn't even want to look at her or talk to her. He's looking away while this is happening. She bitch slaps him and says, you're gonna look at me when I'm talking to you. Remember, she still has his whole thing up her, you know what. And she says, if you don't start moving or going along with it, I will make sure your torture is a lot worse. And you say no, she's not bluffing. So, he starts getting up with the remaining bit of his strength. He grabs her by her thighs, and his dick is still in her. So he's standing up, has her thighs with her breast against him, and he starts thrusting. And she is moaning out loud. A lot. And her head is all the way back with her tongue out. Her eyes are rolled back. She's like, yes, more. And this man is using every bit of his strength to do this. He does not want it to be any worse for him. He keeps thrusting her even deeper. It is hitting her womb. Until he comes in there, filling up her womb. And he drops, and she gets out of it. Now his cum starts pouring out of her. You know what? You know what? And she says, I'm not done yet. Ready for round 2? He stays exhausted. Not because he's a one-round person. It's more that he doesn't eat or sleep in days. So he's breathing pretty hardly right now. And his wounds that were slightly healed have opened again. And she is pushing herself against a wall. He says to hurry up now. So he gets behind her, grabs her ass, and hits his dick in her vagina again. And he is pushing her against the wall. And she is enjoying the shit out of it. He is groping her ass while he's thrusting into her. And he smacks it. And she's like, oh yes, more. Then he puts another hand on her tits, on one of them, and starts groping it. The hand he has. And she is enjoying the shit out of this. Then she turns around with her head and pulls his head to her and kisses her. Makes him kiss her. Losing his first kiss, if I'm sure. Causing him to cry some blood. And she notices, she's like, oh, did I steal your first kiss? And licks the blood that's coming out of his eyes. And she says, you're going to fuck me so hard I won't be able to walk tomorrow. And he's kind of scared of this, but his body is excited. So he grabs one of her legs. She turns around, he grabs one of her legs and sets it on his shoulder and starts fucking her like that. She climaxes again because this is a new position. And she is moaning out loud. And she's lucky these rooms are soundproof. She accidentally lets out a bunch of electricity. Heavy electricity. And issei is shocked by it. But he knows if he stops, she will keep doing it. So he lets out another load in her. And thrusts as hard as he could. And she fell to the ground. Once she did, he fell right on his ass, exhausted. And she says, I'm not done yet. Slowly walking up to him, or crawling, grabs his dick and starts jacking it off. And licking the tip. All at the same time. And he's in position, his ass is on the ground, his hands are behind him, and she's on all fours. One hand on his dick, licking it. Sorry if I'm being a little too much graphic, but I want you guys to know what I'm saying. No position they're in. So, shit. Sorry about that pause. Had to do something. So, she keeps doing that, but then she stops, grabs her tits, and starts rubbing it into his cock. And this man is blushing, but his dick is twitching. And she's like, you like this, you little pervert? And this man comes right in her face. And she's like, that will be all for today. And she leaves, while grabbing her clothes. Issei is completely exhausted. He feels violated right now. Even though he enjoyed it, he did not want to do it with a person that's been torturing him for days. But then, a maid walked in. She had brown hair and a classic maid outfit. She walks in there, and issei is kind of scared what she's gonna do to him. But she brings him some bread and a thing of water. Issei instantly grabs it from her and starts gulping? No. Eating, inhaling that shit like there's no tomorrow. And she gives him the glass of water. He drinks that without any hesitation. He gulps it quickly. After he's done eating and drinking, he looks at her and says, "Why are you doing this?" And she says, "I'd be serving the the groomery also for a while. What they're doing to you is not right." And he agrees with her. But she says, "I need to get going." He's like, "Wait." And she turns around. He says, "What's your name?" She says, "Hinata." Sorry, I'm not very good at covering up names that are Japanese, so don't fuck with me with that. So, she leaves, and he got to sleep for about an hour. But Rias comes in there and says, "Time for another torture session." This man is strapped to a chair. And he sees Asia, Rias, and Kiba. Rias walks up to him and says, "Are you ready for your next torture?" She grabs a fucking axe and slams it into his fucking shoulder, completely breaking or cutting through lots of bones. This man is screaming out in pain while blood is busting. I do not want to use that word. Spraying out of his shoulder. And it's the shoulder with his good arm. I'm pretty sure his right arm. Yeah, probably. And he is screaming. His entire arm went numb. Then Kiba starts walking up to him and using his sword burst and makes a flame sword and stabs it right into his thigh. He is feeling burning while getting stabbed. It is hurting like a son of a bitch. He takes him out. Asia goes up there and heals him, and Rhea says, "It's not as fun as it used to be. He's getting more used to the pain. Not even crying anymore." Today's session's over. Issei's kinda happy. But Rhea says, "Don't be too happy, you maggot. Tomorrow, it's going to be a lot worse while we bring in some more torture devices." Issei is scared out of his fucking mind. So, he gets dragged to his cell, thrown in there by one of the young guards. He is slowly healing. His shoulder's all fucked up. But then he sees Hinata walking in. She brings him some food and water again. And she says, "Sorry if it's not a lot." And he's like, Issei starts gulping that shit down. He's like, "It's okay." And she gives him something. Issei, she whispers to him, "Here's a key." He's like, "For what?" "Your cell and your own cuffs." He's like, "Why are you helping me?" She again explains what they're doing is not right. No one should be tortured like this. And she kind of sheds some tears and says, "Tomorrow afternoon, most of the guards will be on break. So it would be your biggest chance to run. To escape." He says, like, "Thank you." But she says this, I want you to make me a promise. When you get out of here, and you get strong enough, can you come back for me? And she sticks her pinky into his cell. And she says, Pinky, promise me. And he says, Issei puts his feet out and grabs her with his. And says, I promise, when I get out of here and get strong enough, I will come back and rescue you. She leaves. And goes. So the next day, Issei undoes his cap and runs out. He starts running, but once he got to the exit of the mansion, no guards were there because they were all distracted by, on their break. He goes to the door, but there's a spell right on the door's exit. And it teleports him right back into his cell. And he sees Rias, Akano, Konako, and what's his name? Kiba and Serzex. And his shackles are back on him again. And he says, what the fuck? And Rias walks out to him and says, you think we wouldn't know you were trying to escape? And she kicks him right in the face, causing teeth to come out. And she's like, Rias says, we are not that dumb. But tomorrow, we have a special little surprise for you. So the next day, Issei is dragged, or his hands are the chain on it, and he's being dragged through the room. And he sees Hinata, chained, hanging by her hands, all beaten up, cuts on her, bruises, burn marks, a lot more. And Issei's like, what? And he sees Rias in them. And she's like, Rias, she says, you think we wouldn't know she was here? She was the one who helped you. Issei is sad about this and like, what'd you do to her? And she says, well, we tortured her. We tortured the traitor. And Issei is kind of mad about this, and he's like, why? Why'd you have to do this to her? And she walks up to Issei. Issei's on his knees right now crying. And she says, she tried to help you escape. So she must be punished for that. And she shows Issei a key. You know how she got this key to help you escape? She had to sleep with the guard to do it. To get this key. Lose her virginity just to get you out. So Rias says this. If she was going to give that away to help you escape, a light goes on and he sees multiple guards. About 10 guards, fully nude, around Hinata. And you're like, what are you gonna do to her? Then he feels Kiba and Akano are holding his arms up. And Rias says, you're gonna watch her get violated. Issei tries, and he starts seeing Hinata getting raped by 10 different men. She is crying. She's already beaten up and cut all over her body. Issei is forced to watch, but once he tried to turn his head and look away, Akano got behind him, made his head look at them, and forced his eyelids open. He is crying, Issei. And right when all 10 men were finished with her, she was on the ground. Cum, sweat, all over her. And they finally let him go. He ran to her. And she is very injured right now. He hits her in ballerina style while on his knees, and he's like, Hinata, are you okay? And she hits a hand on his cheek. And she says, Issei, I'm sorry. If I knew it was a trap. He's like, don't talk. Don't talk, Hinata. We can get you somewhere. And she says, I don't think so, Issei. They're not going to let me live after this. And neither do I. And he's like, Issei says, please don't talk like that. You're my only friend. You know what this says? Be strong, you see. You'll find a way out of here. Then, out of nowhere, a red blast hits her, and she turns into nothing. So, she turns into nothing, and he sees Rias, who's the one who shot the blast. And she says, good riddance. I wouldn't want to live after that happened to me. She walks up to issei and says, I did her a favor, ending her miserable life. At that point, issei snapped. To be continued! So this is me by Biscuits. Near 10 likes or, no, views. Near 10 views, I will make another. Either 9 or 10 views. Goodbye.